Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing details. Today, we're discussing a watch launched in 2020 as part of a four-piece set. This was the Blast collection. This is the Ulysse Nardin Blue Blast Flying Tourbillon. Now, a quick note on Ulysse Nardin. I think this is a brand that's going to be upwardly mobile, on the move, and perhaps even gaining strength to the point of red-hot intensity. This is a company that has always had incredible in-house capability, up to and including enamel dials and silicon technology, now owned by in-house management rather than absentee management. I feel that UN and its sister company Girard-Perregaux are names to watch for the future. This is a great example of what they do so well. What we have here is a grade 5 titanium watch that is 45 millimeters in diameter, 12.8 millimeters thick. From lug to lug, it's broad at 54 millimeters, but it's very light, being all ceramic and titanium and sapphire and rubber. Now, it comes on a factory rubber strap. We'll throw it on my wrist. My wrist is 16 centimeters in circumference. I can wear this watch. In fact, it may fit better than you first think. When you see the close-up shot, the watch appears larger than it is. When you see the size of my actual arm and hand, you realize that not only is this watch surprisingly slim, yeah, it will fit underneath the cuff, but it actually fits my wrist quite well. And being so light in sapphire, ceramic, and tie, and it is grade 5 tie, this is a watch that you can wear on a wrist as small as mine. So if your wrist is 16 centimeters circumference or larger, game on. Now, looking at the hardware and the software, you can see the strap is proprietary and integrated. It's a good look. Blue is Ulysse Nardin's corporate color. So while there were 4 different elemental-inspired colors in the Blast Tourbillon collection, the blue feels most UN. Now, this is a UN factory strap. You can see they've molded in a pattern. On the underside, there are hollows to make it more flexible and to vent the wrist better. You can appreciate that they give you a deployant clasp that is a unique, coordinated one-touch system. So when I say one-touch, I mean that it operates with a lever arm that acts as the chassis of the clasp. So when I move one side to close it, both sides close. And when I open one side, both sides open. Now, this isn't UN's own design. It is a product made by a Swiss manufacturer that is winning converts around the industry, and you will see this design proliferate throughout the brands in Switzerland over the next couple of years. I've seen brands as big as UN and as small as Karsten Freystorff using this design. It is actually a lot of fun to play with it. You can see it's also a twin trigger release design. You press the triggers to open it, can't pop open on its own, and there's a combination of satin and polish, which I like because differential finish is an upscale look. Pull the pin buckle out of there, close the buckle here, and roll back to the case. Now, the case is numbered by a plate on its flank like a marine chronometer. UN in the 19th and early 20th century, famous for their navigation clocks, which would always be numbered with a plate fixed by bolts on the side. And you can see the attention to detail. The bolts here are fired blue. The case flank is actually a DLC, and apparently the DLC has been blue tinted. We also have a ceramic bezel and both polish on the lip and then satination on the top. So this bezel, along with the sapphire, is going to take most of the hits from the contact to resist scratches to the watch. That said, the titanium that's used is the grade 5 stuff, which is both lighter than steel and harder and more scratch resistant than steel. This is a complex case, and you can see there are combinations of facets that give it a sort of cut gem-like property. It almost looks like we're examining some sort of elaborately cut diamond or ruby. Now, on the reverse side, you can see the watch is 50 meters water resistant, which is uncommon on a watch of this type. More on that in a moment. It is considered safe for surface swimming per UN. Taking a look at the dial, this is a layout used by a couple of UN and Girard-Perregaux watches, where you have a barrel that is coaxial with a micro rotor at the top of the dial, and then you have a tourbillon structure down at 6 o'clock. Now, as you can see, the dial and the movement are one and the same. We have this large expressive X in a combination of PVD blue and a sort of nickel anthracite coating, and if you look carefully, you can see there are several different finishes on this dial. We have black polish, and you can see it well on the indices, as well as details on the periphery. You can see at the roots, or if you will, the stanchions connecting the X to the outer dial. We have that polish. Then you could see that the inner part of the cross member is a media blasted finish, and then you can see that the frame that runs crosswise and the components of the X cross member in blue, those are satinated, and all of these are mirror beveled on their sides, so it's a very complex finish. What I like, though, is it's easy to read despite being an open dial, and all the more so in the dark. There's really no problem with clarity. All of the indices are loomed, and so are the hands. There's a lot to love here. We'll get a little bit closer. Maybe not like that. There we go. And as you can see, it is a flying tourbillon, so there's no upper bridge to block your vision. UN is pretty progressive about the way they put this watch together. So all of the primary rubies used in the drivetrain are going to be spec'd out as clear sapphires rather than synthetic rubies. Same material, artificial corundum, but rather than rubies, here we have these lovely clear sapphires that better match the techie look of the watch. It's a very modern watch. Now, in addition to being a flying tourbillon with no upper bridge to block your view, it is a 1-minute tourbillon, so it effectively acts as the seconds hand of the watch, and it beats away at a vintagey 18,000 vibrations per hour. Now, it's an automatic winder with a 72-hour power reserve. There is an advantage to getting this model over some of the models that are gold garnished, because those that are gold garnished have gold micro rotors. This one features a micro rotor in platinum, which makes it a more efficient winder, and the power reserve is 3 days. Now, you can see more. I mentioned that UN, since 2006, has access to its own silicon through its subsidiary Sigatech, so it doesn't have to buy it from others in the industry that make the tech. We have a silicon anti-magnetic hairspring. You could see that the watch is free-sprung, so precision adjustment is done with the recessed bolts inside the balance, also of UN's own design, which makes the watch both more shock tolerant and easier to adjust properly. Now, there's more. You can see that the escape wheel as well as the anchor are in silicon, which reduces the friction and obviates the need to use any kind of lubrication on the escapement, which extends the intervals in between service. One of the reasons UN now offers 5-year power, or I should say 5-year warranties. The power reserve, again, is 72 hours. Of course, when you flip the watch over, there's more to see. And we have that cross member design again. We have 50-meter water resistance. This is UN caliber 172. And you can see everything is blue, gray, and silver to give it a cool techno-industrial modern look. The screws are a combination of fired blue, and then for the case clamp screws, you can see black polished. So it's very attractive in every regard. This is a future-forward watch, not just in the way it looks and the technology it employs, but for what it says about UN as a company. When you can make watches this good, commercial success is right around the corner. And in case you ever want to know where to find them, if you look on the micro rotor, you can see the latitude and longitude of UN in Lulloch, Switzerland, in case you ever have to track down the mothership. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details of this UN Blast.